Good evening, respected authors, dearest book reviewers, my colleagues at White Falcon, and the book lovers who have joined us today. Welcome to White Falcon's virtual authors readers meet. I wish you all a very happy new year. I hope in this new year we imagine, read, and write to the best of our capabilities and create history in the form of books for our young and future generations. We started White Falcon in the year 2014. This decade-long journey has been full of creativity, enthusiasm, and goodwill. In these 10 years, we have helped publish thousands of books for authors from more than 40 countries. Many of these books became bestsellers and award winners. We have been consistent in our goal of promoting our published books by any means possible, be it engaging with influencers, running Amazon ads, or participating in book fairs. Our goal to offer quality services and quality printed books makes us a valued publisher in the market. To nurture creativity and writing, we have been running literary contests since the last 6 years. Literati, the South Asian Award for Microfiction, Chitti Sarhad Parse for writers from India and Pakistan, Summer Writing Contest, Winter Writing Contest, Indo-Pak Photography Contest are few such initiatives. We value our association with our dear authors, reviewers, and readers, and shall always strive to offer our best to them. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Now I would request Nancy to take the session ahead.
So hi everyone. We are absolutely thrilled to have each and every one of you join us for this special virtual gathering. Our dear authors and fellow literary enthusiasts, welcome to our first virtual author event. This event is not just about celebrating our authors' achievement, but also about diving into the inspiration, creativity, and passion that fuel their literary endeavors. So, to our virtual audience, get ready to embark on an enriching experience as we engage in a conversation that transcends in boundary of words. We shall start with the book release of our newly published books. So I am sending them to the notification to unmute. Kindly unmute it. The respective speaker. Yeah. The book released today is Whisper of a Sacred Love by Gurudat Sadanand. Gurudat is a media educator, digital artist, and visiting faculty in various institutions. I would request him to briefly speak about his book.
Namaste, can I speak now?
Yes, please.
Hi everyone. So my name is Gurudat. This is a book of a lot of labor from a mother who wrote the book called Sneha Mantranangal in Malayalam language last year. So this is our attempt to translate that book in English. So White Falcon, I thank you very much for this helping us do this. And what we did here is that we are moving it from a small language, like a regional language from Malayalam to a global language like English, right? So I'm personally a technology enthusiast. I'm also a teacher and an educator. And I use technology a lot for many things. Okay, one of them is like using technologies like AI. Another thing is like we are trying to visualize the whole or even change the concept of art from being just a poem to build it to a different spectrum itself. For example, there is this project that we have where we are trying to visualize every single poem in this book and trying to come up with like an art installation where each verse of the poem will be visualized. And we already have a sample. If we will share the link in the chat, so you all can have a look. So it is just our idea is that can we move art from one form to or can the art evolve from one language to another? Can the art evolve beyond the language barrier itself? So that was our attempt, and the Whispers of Sacred Love is our first attempt regarding that. And I'm very glad that we were able to achieve this and publish it in this right time. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll share the link on the chat so you may have a look.
So the second book for release, The Most Beautiful Names of Allah, Asmaul Hasna by Syed Shabbir. Syed has joined us from Bangladesh today. Please share a few words about your book, sir.
O Allah, please protect me from Shaitan the outcast. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Praise be to Allah, the cherisher and the sustainer of the worlds, the most gracious, the most merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee do we worship and thine aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those on whom thou hast bestowed thine grace, and those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray. Amen. Ya Allah, الرحمن الرحيم المالك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق الباري المصور الغفار القاهر الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم المنتقم ذو الجلال والإكرام المغني النور الوارث القابض الباسط الخافض الرفيع المعيز المذل السميع البصير الحكام العدل اللطيف الخبير الحليم اللذيذ الغفور الشكور العلي الكبير الحافظ المقت العفو المقصد المني الهادي الرشيد الحاسب الجليل الكريم الراقب المجيب البصير الحكيم الودود المجيد البيت الشهيد الحق الوكيل القوي المتين الولي الحميد المحسن المبدي المعيد الرؤوف الجميع الضر البادي الصبور المحيي المميت الحي القيوم الواجد الماجد الواحد الصمد القادر المقتدر المقدم المؤخر الأول الآخر الظاهر الباطن الولي المتالي البار التواب يا مالك الملك الغني في الباقي المولي أحد رب الستار. What Allah says, beautiful names of Allah. Allah gave me 104 names while writing this book. It was a very great, I will make it very short in 3 minutes, inshallah. When I was teaching in BID school during the time of 2005, when I started writing this book from a photocopy I got from my friends, and I made a list of these names first, and I just tried to memorize the names. It went in my brain, alhamdulillah, and one of my Buddhist student of class 2, a Buddhist student, she said after 2 days, sir, I have completely memorized these names. And when the Ramadan came in, that girl kept fasting for 30 days. I was so amazed. It was all miracles of Allah. Everybody was amazed how it can happen. A small baby of class 2 can memorize his names. It became easy. And then it influenced me how to write the book. I was stuck. I couldn't go back. I couldn't confront because the book was not completely a book. It was a photocopy which I received. And it was completely unreadable due to some lot of problems in the papers. But I copied the book and I took my time to rewrite the book by seeing the Quran. It took me 19 years from 2005 till now. The book has come right now in 2023, definitely 19 years. And whenever I used to have to write the book, I used to take the wuzu. And during the winter time, it was hard for me. I pray to Allah for my country, for the whole world. If anybody who precisely, just reads this book, miracles will happen to him. He will not know how, because Allah says he will come 1,000 times if you remember only once. And if this book is translated in many languages for our country and is made easy for every schools and every kids, all disease, difficulties, and everything will go in such a manner. What corona, what pandemic, everything will slash in such a manner. I can't express how many miracles happening with me in my life. Right now, I have got less time, and I have not taken 3 minutes still. But this is my request to everybody, that I'm very much, alhamdulillah, excited. And for the meeting, for White Falcon, and for everybody who has joined in the meeting, my dearest and assalamu alaikum. May Allah's gracious blessings be upon all, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu.
Thank you, sir. We wish your book lots of success. The next book today is Journey to Ninth Floor, a street bookseller to author of a book by Shivendra Kumar. Shivendra is a marketeer by profession with 23 plus years of professional experience. I would request you to share about your book with the audience, sir.
Yeah, hi, good evening, all of you. So it's a nice venue and place, virtual, where we have all together. So basically, this book is all about my 23 years experience in sales and marketing. And it's a journey of a street bookseller. When it's based on the true events and with connecting with each sales and marketer guy. So I would like to elaborate that from one word, one sentence in my book from Bhagavad Gita: holding pleasure and pain, gain and loss, victory and defeat as equal. Gird yourself up for the battle, thus you shall not incur your sin. मतलब in हिंदी, कर्म करने में मात्र तुम्हारा अधिकार है, फल में कभी नहीं. तुम कर्म फल के हेतु मत होना, और अकर्म में भी तुम्हारी आसक्ति ना हो. So this is the essence of the Mahabharata and Ramayana, and it will connect to you each professional in our life also, because I've tried to motivate the guys who is in the field of sales and marketing and who is doing good or trying to be a good marketer, because I am a reader in I started my career from selling the books from Delhi to now I'm a reader in the Philips company, global company leader. So I then think that everyone has a caliber, and I strongly believe that each sales or marketer have the potential, like he has Lord Hanuman in itself. They just need only a Jamwan to identify. Jamwan can be you, your friend, your girlfriend, or anyone, your kids. So that's all about my book. It has been elaborated into 4 or 5 chapters. I think it will connect to each of you. That's all about. You read and enjoy the.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing the insights.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next we have is Vanity of Books by Mrudula.
Hi all, good evening. Firstly, thanks to Navsangeet and Nancy for giving me this opportunity. So I'm Rudula, you could call me MM as well, which is my short name. I'm author of Vanity and Booze, and this is my debut book. I'm happy to be part of the literary world, and I'm taking my baby steps to explore more. So I'm passionate about stories. As a child, I would request my family and friends to tell me stories, lots of them. During my school times, the first place that I used to go on Saturdays was library so that I could borrow storybooks. My fascination for books has grown from then on, and I guess it's been like 5 years. I did not read books, and then I resumed it back, and in doing so, it has done good to me, as you can see it. I did attempt to write a couple of times, but that did not turn out well. And, I was stuck with one line and one paragraph, and I never reached the end of the page. It was only during the 2020 lockdown, I gave serious thought of writing a book, page after page. I kept writing, and here it is, my first book. So I had my own shares of frustrations and wow moments. And I'm sure every writer did go through it. It's our way of having fun. So fortunately, in this whole process, I got 2 good listeners to support me, whose names are mentioned in the acknowledgement section of the book. And the best part, I did receive no free suggestion from them, which has enabled me to really write freely. So this book is written in memory of my dear friend, Mike Wood, who passed away a few years ago. So the inspiration is him. He did write books, but that could not be published. So I thought I should do this for him. And they say when the intentions are right, God answers your prayer. So that's the book there. So the key takeaway for the readers, the only input I have received from my mom is to try and write it in a way that readers would be able to relate to their life. And I hope you find a bit of you in my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mridula. So yes, the journey of Indian literature is rooted in diversity. The multilingual and varied art and culture is what sets us apart from others and gives us a unique identity. Diverse literature cultivates a neutral environment for readers to explore specific cultural and racial intersections, spectrums of gender and sexual identity, and various narratives. As the torchbearer of Indian literature, do you feel our contemporary literature realizes the beautiful heterogeneity of our diversity and freely gives voices to the underrepresented people with varied orientation, hidden gems like folklore, art forms, etc.? To share their views on this topic, we have with us Gauri Varuti. Ma'am is a freelance journalist, script and content writer for over 30 years. She is also a short filmmaker since 2005. Many of her short films have won her awards. She is the author of the book Travelberg, a selective collection of my travelogues. Arvind Seshadri, a mechanical engineer and MBA by education, who has retired from corporate life after 25 years in the IT industry, now pursuing social entrepreneurship and in the path of self-discovery, sharing his thoughts and experiences through his voice, videos, and words. He is the author of the book Tales of Raghu and Peter Meets Pandavas. Virendra Rathod, he is an IT professional and history blogger. He is author of 3 books, including Prithvi Raj Chauhan. He was a speaker at Sangam Talks, Vimarsh 2022. I would request Gauri Madam to initiate this discussion first.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. When Nancy asked me about giving my views about diversity and whether contemporary literature supports this and encourages, yes, I would say that yes, contemporary literature as such, actually in the Indian literary scene, we've always had diversity of topics being encouraged over the years. And contemporary literature specifically, I would say, I have some examples. See, being from a journalism background, I've always dabbled in various topics. For me, every article or every interview that I did became the basis of some story or the other. My short films like Silent Bungrus and Jyotirgamaya were also based on all actual places and people I've met. So that is how I'm led to believe. My Silent Gungrus is about tamasha, which is the folk art form of Maharashtra. And Jyotirgamaya was based on education for the underprivileged children. So while I was shooting for all these films, I saw that there are people coming from varied backgrounds and people who are doing varied stuff, writing poems, writing many things. Now, for example, I would say, see, in the earlier times when we were growing up, we had people like Enid Blyton and Agatha Christie and all these, which we read as youth. But now you have, again, in the Indian context, you have a varied, like there is a young writer called Varsha Seshan. She writes on children's books, specifically children's books. Then you also have Madam Sudhamurthy, who writes a load of stories, non-fiction for children specifically. And similarly, we also have, there is a author who's my contemporary. She writes about mythological characters. Her name is Kavita Kane. So what I'm trying to say is that you have so much, it's a broad base. You have mythological characters, you have non-fiction writing, you have spiritual writing, and then you have authors like Amish Tripathi and Devdatta Patnaik who also write about all these varied topics. So presently, the scenario in our literature in India is, yes, that any topic for that matter. I wrote Travelberg, and I found lots of people liked it because they travel. The first feedback I got was that we are traveling through you, because the way, then mine is always a narrative. Mine is never a non-fiction kind of writing. It's always a narrative. So I would definitely feel, diversity is encouraged. Now, I don't know when you say writing, if whether I have not read any work by any third gender author or anything, but I'm sure when our readers have a very open mind, they will read anything you give them, good content, unique content, and they will read it. It doesn't matter who it comes from. So yeah, that is it. I can't hear you.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Right.
Next, we have Arvind, sir.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Wish you a very happy New Year. And thank you, White Falcon, for arranging this virtual meet. It's a great opportunity to meet diverse people from different countries, different backgrounds. As far as the writing and contemporary literature, contemporary scenario is concerned, I definitely go with Gauri Madam here, right? And I think the people like White Falcon have created that platform. A person who's been in business management and strategy for 25 years. I ended up publishing 2 books through White Falcon. So thanks to Navsanjeet and our team. One book was based on my growing up years in the city of Madras, as it was called then, in 80s life, where the cultural background, Syed Saab talked about the Allah's calling. I had celebrated Ramadan and I celebrated Christmas with people around. And I've actually reflected that back in my book when I wrote about that. Secondly, she also talked about mythological perspectives being shown a different light through Amish. I'm a big follower of Ashwin Sanghi and Amish. I think the beauty about the literary world today is somebody will call it a myth, somebody will call it reality. Both of them have a space today. Vikram Sampath is able to write what he feels, and Arvind Adiga writes what he is. It's a completely different perspective. If you look at, for example, Perumal Murugan, who wrote about casteism and the pseudo-centricity of that, right? It's a controversial book, but it's still available. People are there. Like she mentioned, Kavita Kane is a very different perspective, right? People who we see as a portrait as a Rakshas or somebody else is given a completely new viewpoint through her book on what is called as the Princess of Lanka. And I think the beauty today that we have is India is a diverse country. Like we talked about, whether it's from the third gender or today that is authorized by law. Today we have that opportunity that it's not any criminal anymore. Everybody chooses the path they want to be. And companies like White Falcon and others are providing the platform to people to express their views. And what we have seen today, based on my experience from Tamil cinema, also, a lot of these very diversified books today are being converted to films because we tend to enjoy visual medium a lot more. So these views are being translated into other medium. Like, for example, one of the authors here is creating a translation of a Malayalam literature, which may be understood only by a certain set of people, into English, which is a broader, appeal that they have. So in my view, in a nutshell, the platforms are available today. The thoughts are very diverse, whether it is the difference about the people who are suffering due to the caste-based issues or religious freedom to express their thoughts. One of the beauty of our philosophy and religion is you can actually question everything. It's only when you don't hurt others, it's still okay. But you can always question what's there today. And I think express it to others. What I've also seen very fascinated is 10-year-olds, 5-year-olds, they are writing books today. One of my friend's son wrote, and it's published by another publishing agency, but he wrote horror stories. That boy is 10 years old. So I think the opportunity is immense. And as long as, the person was talking about the book about everybody has an inspiration around them. You can find it yourself or around us. And I think the people that are there in the panel today, they are themselves inspirational. And I'm very happy to be part of this and giving my point of view as well. Back to you, Nancy.
So thank you, sir. Next, we have Virendra, sir, in the panel.
Namaste. So first of all, thanks to White Falcon, Navsangeet and Nancy ji, to you as well. So the topic that we have today, I think I would completely agree, with what Arvind ji just, said right now. So when we think of contemporary literature, what it represents and what it doesn't, there's a whole gamut of factors influencing it. And it's not, really feasible to cover all of them in a few minutes. So I'll just pick the languages part today because it ties very well into the question of diversity as well as literature. So I'll broadly make 2 points. One is about preserving the linguistic diversity, and then the why and how of approaching a convergence, which is also important. So if we look at the current social makeup, we have sections of libertarian values, millennials, individualism, academic section. Then there are opposite currents wherein you have the views which are conservative and nationalist by flavor. And then there are sorts of polarizations as well on many scales, We have polarization based on race, religion, caste, region, and even languages. There's no denying that, just to be a bit realistic. And yes, we do take pride in our technological advancements. We say that information travels really fast now. Yet somehow it doesn't travel wide across the spectrum. What I mean is that it would remain in echo chambers. Okay, so where does language come in? Language, I think it not only determines the reader of any literature, it would also mold the message itself to a large extent. Even to the extent that the thought generated in a recipient's mind could differ with the change in language, right? So I'll not get into the academics, like, how different languages would emphasize on different sounds and how those sounds would deeply, those vibrations deeply influence us. But even the style or aesthetic of any language, it makes it more suited to specific applications and expressions than the rest. It's like you watch a movie in its original form, then you watch it, its dubbed version, right? Immediately it clicks in your mind that, okay, a lot of the dialogues, when you hear it in two different languages, the bhav or the feeling that it generates in your mind, it could be at a lot of variance, right? So that's where language becomes important, because our brain is not just storing information, there is processing and expression as well. So first thing is that we have to have abundance of languages, because that's just another way of the natural human desire toward diversity. And if we want to preserve socio-cultural diversity, for example, the road goes through preserving linguistic diversity, including literature, fiction as well as non-fiction. So where does the contemporary literature stand on all of this? Yes, we do have diversity in the sense that there is modern literature in various languages, and I agree with the panelists, all of them over there, but I would call that a wardrobe of languages, not a symphony. Because to me, there is compartmentalization. It's a case of development in silos where you don't see enough interplay between the various language genres. Yes, there are pretty good exceptions, like the one that Arvind sir just mentioned. But when you don't see enough interplay between the various language genres, it becomes a no-no, because now what has been written in one language, it won't get traction in other languages, okay, into other languages. They're readers and authors by implication as well. So consequently, without an exchange of ideas and feelings, the voices of regional languages, and by inference, the various minorities as well, it fails to get mainstreamed. And so it becomes a vicious cycle feeding into further polarization. So having multiple languages is important, but it won't suffice. If there was an interplay in the multilingual literature, then you would call it, diversity. Since that's not the case, to a good extent today, it has become silos. So if you don't have that interplay, how does it really affect us? It's like, your left hand is not knowing what the right is doing or feeling. So as a modern, nation state, both the state as well as the society, we sign up to a social contract that we would break these silos. That's what we basically started with when we became a modern nation state. We were supposed to break these silos, and I think that task is still incomplete. For example, there is if I go to history, because that's the area which I touch a bit. So there's the Greco-Arabic translation movement of 8th to the 10th century. And if you go into the history and look at its ramifications, that it led to such a huge exchange of scientific knowledge and philosophy across the globe in the medieval world. So all of that became possible because we were able to break some silos through that translation movement at that point of time in history. So if I was to mold both of my points into one, we can say that, let's take an old idea called Anekantavad. What it means is that it's impossible to express or explain anything in just one perspective. Truth always has many sides. But to reach at that truth, all those multiple sides have to converge. They must eventually converge. If we don't approach from multiple sides, and if we don't converge, then yes, there will be things like polarization and compartmentalization. So that's where in this journey as a nation, I think literature has to come out of being either unidimensional or be siloed without a convergence. That's only when I think literature can be a part of the solution in taking us to the truth. And to close it off, in terms of practicality, what we can do as publishers, as authors or readers, I think one would be that, for publishers, I know there are market and business realities which override a lot of things, but taking projects in different languages, be choosy if you have to, but pick the best ones, but do pick. And pick things which promote linguistic interplay, promote translations, bring the readers of English, Hindi, and regional languages together, have them converse about, like, okay, what you've read and how did you process it. And as authors, we should be expressing in multiple languages, take up translation, projects. For example, okay, let's take AI. Are we properly communicating to the millions of semi-urban youth about what is AI and in what ways AI is going to change our lives? We aren't. They don't have a head start, and it's such a huge population. But do we think English is the best language to swiftly reach them with awareness? That's not the case. So it has to be done in multiple languages. I think I've taken enough of your time. So thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. So thank you, Gauri Madam, Arvind Sir, and Viren Sir for your valuable viewpoints. Let us move to the next segment, that is Author Speak. So we have Anupam Vora with us, who shall be speaking on the topic Changing Trend in Fiction Writing Then and Now.
I'll be speaking.
Yeah, let me introduce you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dr. Anupam Vora is the Professor of English in Directorate of Distance and Online Education, University of Jammu. She is the author of the book Violence and Gender Disparities Against Women, a Global Scenario. Yes, ma'am. Now please continue.
Thank you so much. And I'll be speaking on fiction writing then and now with special focus on women's writing. Starting from Mary Ann Evans and Amundsen Dupin's, these two women's fictional works suffered rejection. We all know their post packets were not opened and read just because the writers were women. And the same works were published and received remarkable reading when they sent them under the pen name of George Eliot and George Sand, respectively. From them to the present time, women's writing in different genres across the world have moved on from oral, folklore, spiritual poetry, domesticity, marriage and social inequality, relationship, trends, rape, assault, global patriarchy, etc., to express an alternative story of womanhood. The women defied literary traditions. Instead of external, the subjective experiences with regard to identity, sexuality, marriage, love, family, travelogues, environment, peace, LGBTQs, peace, conflict, women's body, women's bonding, etc., are the dominating issues in women's writing. Besides, currently, women across the world to express discrimination, dissatisfaction, and agony, trapped between their own aspirations and the constricting forces of societal patriarchy, have taken recourse to autofiction, autobiographical writing, which includes life narratives, testimonials, memoir, letters and diaries, LGBTQ, minority, Dalit narratives, collaborative narratives, confessional narratives, to claim the agency and also to negate the prevailing claim that women's lives are too insignificant to be of literary interest. Moving ahead in this context, it is essential to observe that when it comes to personal lives of the women, there is nothing personal, as the personal is political. And in context of Dalit and transgender writers, challenging the issues of caste, class, and gender, relocating their own identity in these respective categories by breaking into these formal structures, women have changed the rules of the game. Today, the writings coming from the periphery of the society, like Nalari Jamila's, an autobiography of a sex worker, Baby Haldar's Life Less Ordinary, A. Ravati's The Truth About Me, Bamba's Karuku, to name a few, have changed the discourse of literary writing. And along with this, to mention a few like Ruqayya Shekhawat Hussein's Sultana's Dream, which was published in 1905, moving forward to Audrey Thomas's Mrs. Blood, published in 1993, which underscores women are at last beginning to talk about their bodies, not only among themselves, but also in print. And Shireen Maqsood's A Memoir, Reflections of a Pakistani Woman, published in 2016, in which the writer writes her own story and gives it to herself on her 50th birthday. These writings, and many like them, because of the paucity of time, I have taken a few examples, are an introspective bridge between the earlier and the current writings, like paintings in a museum exhibit or patches on a quilt, putting together diverse perspectives, acknowledging the social inequities of life and the privileges of women's own authority as author. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. Now, I would request Komi Viviana, PhD Literature and PhD Education, Professor Emeritus, Christ University, Professor and former Head, Department of English, University of Mumbai, Education Futurist and Founder Director of International Global Tipping Point Summit, TEDx speaker and author of 2 books, Redesigning Education, 5 Steps of Becoming Enabler for Change, Amplified Living, 21 Days of Inner Work for a Conscious, Joyful Life, to speak on the topic, what literature can do to create awareness.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Am I audible?
Yes, very much, ma'am.
And can I be seen?
Like you have to put your camera towards you more, tilt down. Yeah.
Better?
Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. It's not 2 books, it's 14 books. The 2 books are with White Falcon. The most recent ones are with White Falcon. Very, very happy to have published with White Falcon. And yeah, what is the role of literature and how can literature create awareness? I mean, all of us on this platform today are passionate about literature, which is an art form, which does magic with words, and which, I'm going to make a bold statement, is the art form that will prevent technology from trumping humanity. If we want to retain our humanity in this wonderful world, I have no problem with change. I embrace AI and all of technology, but the role of literature is gaining more importance today than it ever had. The reason being, now obviously you'd ask that in a STEM-dominated world, why do we need literature? Can't we do without it? And being passionate about literature and having seen the power of literature, I feel that it is one discipline which allows us to remain in touch with our humanity and see the commonalities, our differences, as well as our oneness. And therefore, I strongly feel that it is it deals with feelings quite openly. It deals with emotions quite openly. In most school subjects, most school disciplines tend to oust emotions and feelings and say, sorry, just leave your feelings and emotions out when you come in to the classroom and come with your heads. But literature doesn't do that. Literature allows you to be a whole, W-H-O-L-E, a whole human being. And it helps you to look deeper into life, not at the superficialities, but it enables you to see life in a very nuanced way. And that is where the power of literature lies. And that's where its importance lies today. In 2020, India's NEP, the National Education Policy, said that we need to teach our children social, emotional, and ethical intelligence, SEEL. Extremely important today. But how can we teach it? I don't think we can, it spells it out. I think literature can do that work extremely well, because literature creates awareness of three important areas of our life: awareness of self, awareness of others, and an awareness of our environment. Very, very briefly, how does it create a complete knowledge of self? Literature takes us into the minds and hearts of diverse people coming from diverse cultures across time. And we get to see the feelings and the thoughts and how they behaved and what the outcome was. So we develop a certain kind of self-awareness. Now, a very, very quick example. There is no school subject, for instance, which teaches us how to deal with jealousy, anger, frustration, hurt, whatever it be, these emotions. Literature does that. When we experience jealousy, at the back of our minds, we think, well, we know what happened to Othello and how he wrecked his life and the life of several others on account of it. Just one example. Of course, if it's a comedy and there is jealousy, it's worked out nicely, like in A Midsummer Night's Dream. These are just very, very quick examples. But all the time we are encouraged to self-reflect. And this self-reflection is extremely important in an age of AI. So self-reflection, self-awareness leads to self-regulation, which leads to an understanding of relationships. And of course, as SEL would want, responsible decision-making. Very quickly to move on to the next. How does literature help us gain an awareness of others? Some of the esteemed speakers today have already touched upon this, but literature, as Rabindranath Tagore would rightly say, helps us break down narrow domestic walls of racism, sexism, ageism, ableism, casteism, classism, to just name a few. And I think this is extremely vital, the connection, the appreciation of the culture of others. As some of the speakers rightly said, Mr. Rathore said that we have literature in silos, which is just so unfortunate. We need to have more dialogue. I need to understand you. I need to understand Mr. Shabir, and I'm happy to do that with the openness of my mind. So literature gives you this scope that there may be people living in Africa about whom you know nothing, but when you read a Chinua Achebe, you get to understand that. When you don't know the life of sex workers, you don't understand them at all, you don't even want to, perhaps. But when you read a novel like Parcel by Anosh Irani, you sit up and take notice and say, oh my God, my attitude has changed, my mindset has changed. So this is the power of literature. Lastly, environment, our relationship with environment. Literature understands that self is coextensive with the environment. We are not separate from it. And of course, quantum physics has now validated it, that we are all energetically interconnected. If I trash the environment, I'm literally wrecking my own chances of survival. And we know how vital it is. Earlier, we used to have some fantastic nature literature, and we had all our Wordsworth and Keats and all celebrating and talking about rainbows and skylarks and nightingales. And now we have some powerful eco-literature. Eco-literature written in the northeast of India particularly is absolutely admirable. And here are the writers saying, well, look how beautiful nature is, but do you see the others who are trying to wreck it? So that sense of responsibility, that connectedness is what literature brings to us. And having said that, I think that now we are living in very, very exciting times, because with self-publishing, writers don't have to wait for aeons for esteemed publishers to give their nod, that because by then perhaps many of our themes would even become irrelevant. So I think publishers like White Falcon are doing an amazing job. Apart from the good quality of their publishing, they're doing an amazing job. And yes, 10-year-olds, 14-year-olds are writing phenomenally. So I think we are living in very, very vibrant, interesting times. And it is a time when we can really think out ways in which how we can make our rapidly shrinking and increasingly threatened world a better place for ourselves and for the generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your energetic and thoughtful talk, ma'am. I'm sure audience would agree with the same. So
thank you. Thank you.
Let us talk about the ever-expanding genre in books, that is self-help books. The next topic is what makes self-help books the most sought after current times. I would first invite Pooja Saran to share her views. Pooja Saran, a financial therapist, life design coach, trainer for American Board of NLP, emotional intelligence coach, and a master handwriting analysis. She is the author of the book Money Rules for Teens, 7 Keys to Make, Multiply, and Manage Money.
A very good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all these people who are from different spaces today. And it's an honor to be here in between these experienced writers and the passionate writers to share something that I have to. I have 5 minutes to speak, and right now, Nancy, I don't know whether you have a time. If I'm up, please give me a thumbs up. I have a timer right here, because time is the most important thing that we have. I can see Syed sir agreeing to me. Thank you so much, Syed sir. Let me start with a small analogy or a metaphor, if you want to say, and this is based on a research. I'm a very research kind of a person, so whatever I've written in the book also, it's very research related. So John Henry, a French naturalist, had done this research on caterpillars. So what he did, he put the beetle leaves in between in a pot, and on the rim of the pot, he put the caterpillars one behind each other. They were in the circle like ringa roses, holding each other's hands or maybe buds, and they were roaming around, and the food was in between, which the caterpillar loves, the leaves, the pine tree leaves. Now what happened? Can anyone guess? Put it on the chat box. I'll tell you. He watched and observed what happened. You know, the caterpillars started doing ringa roses. They were roaming around the circle, round and round for 7 days. And you know, 7th day, they all died, where the food was just 4 inches away from them. All they needed is one caterpillar breaking it and shifting it, or just breaking that pattern, a shift, have a different approach. I think this is where I will start my title topic that Nancy has given me, is the self-help book in today's generation. This is what a self-help book does. A self-help book takes you away from the general pattern that you are reaching out in every day. Your parents, your community, your society, your environment. This is what not even self-help book. The Insta Reels that you see in self-help developing, the Facebooks, the YouTubes, lovely people like Gauri ma'am and the TEDx that you watch, the Arvind sir's stories. These all are that one little shift that you're looking for. I'll give you a small practice or the homework if you want to try on. Put a candle and see if you can make those shadows. Give me a thumbs up if you made those shadows with the butterflies and all in front of the candle. How beautiful it is, right? I still do it sometimes with the kids. The more closer you go to the candle, the more bigger the piece is on the wall. The more farther you go from the candle, it's blurred, it's small. What does that mean? More closer you go to the self-help, more closer you light that light within that makes you make it in your reality. It becomes a holographic reality. And that's what we call it as a quantum jump, quantum shift, that enlightenment that comes in. Now, my topic, because Money Rules is for teens, I would talk about self-help for kids, for teenagers. Give me a thumbs up or a raise of your hands if you agree that the teenager need a self-help book. I love it. A lot of people say yes. Yeah, I would have a different approach to it. You know, when we were young, and I'm sure when you were young, there was no self-help book for us, except for Mahabharata, if you really wanted to, or Quran Sharif, if you really wanted to lighten up that small light within you. Now, if we take away our responsibility and we hand a YouTube or a Udemy or a Coursera to our kids to find out their own meaning, where is our experience going? Why are we going back to Mahabharata and learning? Why are we not taking responsibility to teach our teenager, to teach our kids about our experiences? They are having their experiences in the world. They really don't need to listen to those experiences from YouTube or any other spaces. They are there to listen to our stories, our self-help. How did we help ourselves? Not how maybe Amitabh Bachchan helped him, how someone else helped himself. No, how I helped myself. So my urge to all of you, because I have just 3 seconds left, urge to all of you that all of you should write a self-help book. How did you help yourself as when you were young, when you were children, and when you were growing up? All the problems that you faced, and how did you come up with? And did you come up with or no? Whom did you go to? And please don't do it for yourself. Do it for your children. Don't give them others self-help, because other people are from different spaces, different culture, different blood, different genes, different traits. Your kids have your traits, your genes, your blood, your environment. So please, all of you, write a self-help book for your children from the understanding of how you take your life. That's the urge, and that's the end to conclude. And again, thank you so much, Nancy ma'am and Navsangeet ji, for giving me this opportunity to be here. I'm completely grateful for this book being published in your platform. And I'm really looking forward to more and more such meetings with such wise, wisdom-full people. Thank you so much, Nancy. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable inputs. I would now invite Suprabha Pandey, who is the art of meditation master and Vedantic healer. She is the founder and CEO, Big Discover Drive Consulting, founder Gamas. She is the author of the book Meditation, The Untold Glory of Sanatan Dharma, How the West Bows to Mahabharati. Yes, ma'am.
Namaskar, everybody. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you so much, Navsangeet Kaurji, for giving me this opportunity. I really like this platform, और जो हम सब ने अभी हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं और सारे ऑथर्स अपने हमें वैल्यूएबल पॉइंट्स बता रहे हैं, ये सच में बहुत ज़्यादा मैं आपको शुभकामनाएं देना चाहती हूँ कि आपने ये बहुत अच्छा है, आपका एक प्रयास है. और मैं आज जो बोलने जा रही हूँ, my topic is what makes self-help books the most sought after in current times. So first of all, what are self-help books? Books that is written with an intention to instruct the reader on solving personal problems. Such personal problems may have personal as well as professional manifestation. सो सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स की हम बात करें तो सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स हमारे लिए आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्पफुल हैं. किस तरीके से? बिकॉज अब हमारे पास बहुत सारे, आप ये कहिए इतने सारे ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल हैं. सो वी कैन से देयर इज अ एक्सप्लोजन ऑफ ऑप्शंस अवेलेबल. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम बात करें इनके रीजंस की, तो फर्स्ट इज ओपनिंग अप द इंटरकनेक्शन ऑफ वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी. देन वी हैव इंटरनेट सोशल मीडिया एक्सप्लोजन। आप ये देखिए कि आज हम आपसे अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, हम लोग देश में अलग अलग जगहों पर बैठे हुए हैं और इस वक्त हम जूम मीटिंग में कनेक्टेड हैं। अब अगर मैं बात करूं कुछ वर्ष पहले की, तो क्या हम कभी सोच सकते थे कि हम इस तरीके से मीटिंग कर सकते हैं? वो किस वजह से हुआ है? जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द सोशल मीडिया एंड इंटरनेट जो हमारे पास अवेलेबल है। तो आज हम ऑनलाइन एक दूसरे से कनेक्टेड हैं। और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो कि बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट अब हमारे पास आ गया है। देन वी हैव ऑनलाइन इकोनॉमी लाइक अमेजोन है, फ्लिपकार्ट है। सो हम लोग अगर सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स लिखते हैं तो हमको ये मालूम है कि वी हैव अ प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर वी कैन यू नो सेंड दीज बुक्स। मैं एक अमेजोन में मेरे को प्लेटफॉर्म मिलता है कि इसको वर्ल्ड वाइड मैं सर्कुलेट कर सकती हूँ। आज से कुछ वर्षों पहले की बात करें तो ये पॉसिबल नहीं था। और ऑनलाइन टैलेंट प्लेटफॉर्म भी अवेलेबल है आजकल, जैसे कि यूट्यूब है। तो यूट्यूब में भी हम लोग अपने हमको बहुत सारे इससे एक ये कहिए कि हमें बहुत ज़्यादा एक एक्सप्लोजन मिलता है, एक बहुत ज़्यादा हमें लोग एक ही बार में बहुत सारे लोगों को हम देख सकते हैं और लोग हमें देख सकते हैं। सो देयर इज अपॉर्चुनिटी एक्सप्लोजन। सो दीज सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स आर हेल्पफुल इन दैट केस। सो अब अगर बात आती है कि जो अगर सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स की हम बात करें तो सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स में लोग क्यों चाहते हैं सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स का होना? सो पीपल वांट improvement in status and wealth. That is why they want self-help books. This is nothing to do with the society, but they want कि उनकी internal wish है कि मैं कुछ करूं, so they want it. Second reason ये है, they want self improvement in status and wealth, but why? Because they want to see other in the society. They are seeing कि लोग इतना अच्छा अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं तो मैं क्यों नहीं? So they want to write self-help books. अब बात आती है कि वो ये सोचते हैं कि क्या हाउ डू आई फिट इन, मैं कैसे इसमें फिट हो सकता हूं? क्या मेरी क्वालिफिकेशन इतनी है? क्या मेरा एक्सपीरियंस इतना है? क्या मेरे पास टैलेंट है, या मेरे पास कैपेबिलिटी है, या मेरा नेटवर्क है कि मैं सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स लिख सकता हूं? फिर उनके पास कुछ चैलेंजेस भी आते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल फाइनेंशियल प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, देन फिजिकल इश्यूज आते हैं, फैमिली प्रॉब्लम है, जैसे कि फैमिली इश्यूज हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे मैं अपना एग्जाम्पल लूँ, आई एम अ मदर, वाइफ, एंटरप्रेन्योर, सब चीज़ों में मुझे अपना पूरा प्रॉपर टाइम देना पड़ता है और कई बार बहुत मुश्किल हो जाती है टाइम दे पाना। बट I give preference to what is I live in present moment because I am a meditation master और मैं meditation करती हूँ और मैं उस present moment में रहती हूँ, इस वजह से ही शायद मैं इतना कुछ कर भी पाती हूँ। Then parents, कई बार क्या होता है कि बच्चे कहते हैं कि मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन पेरेंट्स फॉर एग्जांपल कोई कहता है मैं तो हेयर स्टाइलर बनना चाहता हूँ, बट पेरेंट्स कहते हैं नहीं, हम तो IIT JEE के दिए हुए इंजीनियर्स हैं, तो ये तो हमारा स्टेटस नहीं होता। सो कुछ चैलेंजेस हैं जो कि आते हैं। देन कुछ थ्रेट्स होते हैं कि थ्रेट्स ये हैं कि क्या मैंने ये डिसीजन ठीक लिया है, इज माय डिसीजन करेक्ट एंड विल इट पे, मैं अगर ये काम कर रहा हूं तो मुझे इसका रिटर्न मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा। सो सब चीजों के लिए, इन सब चीजों के लिए हमको एक मेंटर की जरूरत होती है जो हमें गाइड कर सके। अब मेंटर या तो बहुत अच्छा हो, और जरूरी नहीं है कि हमें हमेशा अच्छा मेंटर मिल जाए, या ये भी जरूरी नहीं है कि मैंने बिल गेट की स्टोरीज देखी हैं, बहुत इंदिरा नूई को देखा है, कितने ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल अपनी लाइफ में। सो दिस इज, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि वो मुझे समझाने के लिए पर्टिकुलरली उनके पास इतना टाइम नहीं कि वो मेरे पास मुझे समझाने के लिए आए ये बात। सो मुझे एक मेंटर और जो गाइड है वो अगर चाहिए तो वो मुझे कैसे मिलेगा? वो मिलेगा मुझे वो तो नहीं मिल सकते, बिल गेट्स मेरे पास नहीं आ सकते, और या कोई और सक्सेसफुल पर्सन मेरे पास नहीं आ सकते, मेरे पास आ सकता है सेल्फ हेल्प बुक। मैं उस बुक को पढ़कर देख सकती हूँ कि किस तरीके से उन्होंने अपनी लाइफ को लीड किया, उनके कुछ एक्सपीरियंसेस को देखकर, और उनसे मैं कुछ सीख सकती हूँ। सो इस तरीके से सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स हमें बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प करती हैं, पर इनकी कुछ लिमिटेशंस भी हैं सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स की, जैसे कि मल्टीप्लिसिटी ऑफ इमर्जिंग सिनारियो, लाइक ये जो सिनेरियो है ये पर्सन टू पर्सन चेंज होता है, देन फाइनेंशियल, सोशल, साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स फेस बाय वन पर्सन में डिफर फ्रॉम इंडस्ट्री टू इंडस्ट्री। मैं जिस चीज को चाहती हूँ, मैं एआई में अगर अपना करियर ढूंढ रही हूँ, तो जरूरी नहीं कि मेरे को वो वाली बुक मिल जाए। देन वी हैव टाइम डिफरेंस इन time to time, then country to country, then society to society. So there is you can say there is a limitation of self-help books. So one single book is insufficient. We have to see more and more books. तो उसमें बहुत ज्यादा confusion भी हो जाता है कई बार कि किस चीज को हम चुने. So these books are, एंड दूसरा जो सबसे बड़ा इसका जो लिमिटेशन आता है, दैट दीज बुक्स आर बेस्ड ऑन आउटलायर्स. लाइक हम बात करेंगे बिल गेट की या इंदिरा नोई की, जो बहुत ज्यादा अपने आप में सक्सेसफुल हो गए हैं. ये बात नहीं करते उन लोगों की जो सोसाइटी की, क्योंकि कई बार हम आउटलायर्स क्या हैं, जो कि जिन्होंने की बिल्कुल अलग हटकर कुछ काम कर लिया, लेकिन सोसाइटी ऐसी नहीं है. सोसाइटी में ज्यादातर लोग ऐसे हैं कि जहां पर कि ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल सक्सेसफुल होता है. तो हमको कुछ ऐसी इसमें बुक्स होनी चाहिए जिसमें कि बात हो पूरी सोसाइटी की, ना ही सिर्फ एक पर्सन की. सो इसमें सजेशन ये है कि सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स में हमें ये करना चाहिए कि सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स शुड मूव फ्रॉम स्पेसिफिक आउटलायर बेस्ड नरेटिव टू ग्रुप. जैसे कि मैंने बात की कि एक पर्सन पे ना डिपेंड करके हम ग्रुप ऑफ अ पर्सन पे बात करें. जैसे कि अगर मैं आज के सिनेरियो में एग्जांपल लूं, सो फॉर एग्जांपल मोदी जी का हम लें, हमारे जो प्रधानमंत्री हैं नरेंद्र मोदी जी, रिस्पेक्टेड प्रधानमंत्री, और जो अमित शाह जी हैं, उन लोगों ने इतना ज़्यादा वर्क किया, इतना ज़्यादा उन्होंने वर्क किया कि उन्होंने पूरी की पूरी एक जो पार्टी थी बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट, उसको इतना ज़्यादा उठा दिया. So we have to talk about the group, not a person. Then secondly, spiritual component must be there. फॉर एग्जाम्पल हम जब बात करते हैं कि हमें कोई भी अगर चोट लगती है या हमें कोई भी दर्द होता है, तो हम उसको जो ठीक करते हैं, हम उसमें दवाई लगा देते हैं, बैंडेड लगा देते हैं और वो ठीक हो जाता है. बट उसको अगर अंदर से ठीक करना है तो उसके लिए हमें ज़रूरी है कि हमारे को आयुर्वेद का काम हो. आयुर्वेद माने जो अंदर तक उसको ठीक कर सकते. सो द बुक्स इस तरीके से हमें रेफर करनी है, सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स जो कि स्पिरिचुअली साउंड हो, उसमें स्पिरिचुअल कंपोनेंट हो. So that's all for today. Thank you so much, Nancy, and thank you so much, Gaurji.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you.
So now, I would like to invite Mrs. Jasjot Anand to share her views on what makes self-help book most sought after in current time. Jasjot is an MA, MPhil in English literature based in New Jersey. She is author of the book I Am the Sung Malady, My Journey of Hope and Transformation Through Chemotherapy. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Can I be heard? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello, everyone. And sorry for the mess up in time. I was just trying to figure out, so apologies for the delay. And thank you for offering this platform, Nancy, Navsangeet, and everyone from White Falcon, to be sitting among these esteemed, really, writers, authors, thinkers, visionaries. Dr. Vora, I just have to say that's when I joined. So if anyone, whoever presented, I hope this recording is available, for everyone to share. Dr. Vora, I feel so blessed. I mean, about gender disparities you talked about, and just feel so blessed to be so free and be able to express myself. For me, Vivena, literature, I did master's and MPhil in English literature and did not know that that would come in handy. When life throws lemons at you, you have to make lemonade, and here I am. So fate just nudged me to write that self-help book when I had a rendezvous with cancer. And everything that I had learned during my master's and MPhil about John Donne and about being paradoxical, everything came in handy. And Pooja Saran, I am that caterpillar. Because if you have looked at the book, my book cover, it is breaking out of that shell. And I am that caterpillar that made it to that bottom of the jar that you were talking about. So, and here I am with the self-help book. An educator by profession, a licensed teacher in New Jersey. But the book is about when I ran into cancer. That's when the only thing I had with me was my, of course, the hospital visits forever and my telephone. And I just kept taking pictures. So the book is a visual memoir about the journey right before, going through the treatment, and then right after. And then there are some of the projects that helped me. And the book is just, even if it helps one person, that there is hope, hang in there and just be rewired. You will be transformed. You will turn into a butterfly, one day, but you just have to hang in there and go through the whole process. So that was the inspiration for the book. I just compiled the photo journey together, and it is a photo memoir. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening, paying, a bit of attention. And please do look at the cover. It is a butterfly, a caterpillar morphing. So thank you so much for, your time. Thanks. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, ma'am. So next we have Padmini Vedula, who is a seasoned corporate professional with over 2 decades of success in insurance, banking, and edtech. Hi, ma'am. Please continue.
Thanks. Nancy, are you able to hear me and see me?
Yes, we all are.
Great. Thanks so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Padmini Vedula Ganti, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today amidst this wonderful authors and audience. And I wish you all a very happy New Year 2024. So today I would like to share my perspectives on this interesting theme. What makes self-help books the most sought after in the current times? I would like to begin this with a few interesting facts about self-help books. Number one, self-help books as a genre ranks only after romance and thriller categories worldwide. That was a big surprise to me. Number two, according to a recent survey done in 2022, more than half of self-help book purchases were made by people under 35. And the interesting fact is that women bought more self-help books than men in 2021, whereas the situation slightly reversed in 22 and 23, where men bought more than 50% of self-help books. And the last one, in 2023, recently, the statistics says global self-improvement market has grown up to $41 billion, and it is expected to grow at a CAGR, annual growth rate, compounded annual growth rate of 5 to 8% in the next 10 years. And this figure is absolutely competitive with the GDP of India in the last 10 years. So the question is, what makes this genre so fascinating that it is creating a multi-billion market? In my experience, there are 3 primary reasons for this. And I'm sharing these perspectives with all due respect to the authors and their readers. Number one, self-help books are most preferred, whether we purchase it online or from a bookstore, because we believe that by reading such book, it will result in self-improvement and bringing novelty in our lives. However, while we read such books, what ends up happening is lot of our thoughts keep running up and down to find answers to our unsolved questions. And not just that, while we read such books, our mind starts drawing connections and similarities between authors' words and our own life experiences. We try to make it more relatable to us. Therefore, these unresolved questions and problems often come to the forefront of our thoughts while we read this. But the point here is that the experience of reading a self help book is, anyways, a multifaceted. While they offer us an illustrative roadmap to our personal development and positive change, they have to be leveraged as a catalyst, as trigger points for self reflection and exploration of unresolved issues. Number two, we genuinely trust the author of the self help book has creative solutions to our problems than us. And at times, because of this, we miss on reflecting and discussing our things with the right set of people. And the major reason for the trust is that the perceived expertise of the author in that particular field, whether it is psychology, business, spirituality, personal development, religion, etc. And not just that, what is interesting is the formats in which these books are coming these days. For example, there are organized chapters, frameworks, diagrams, quotations, examples, illustrations, roadmaps, which makes or brings a lot of clarity or to a problem solving dimension. However, only relying on self help books can lead to overshadowing the value of self reflection, introspection, and discussion with others. Therefore, the point here is what we have to really probably make a note is that we must strike a balance between absorbing external guidance and also having an internal dialogue and introspection with not just with our own self, but probably with our trusted individuals, say mentors. And this could be extremely energizing and as beneficial as reading a self-help book. And last but not the least, reading a self-help book strengthens our self-gratification, which is actually has become a survival pill around the world. I'm sure you would agree with this. And this silent process of seeking guidance for improvement, this such literature not only goes ahead and fulfills our inherent need for personal growth, but it also provides a psychological boost of well-being. Completely agreed. And not only that, we invest a lot of time, we invest a lot of effort and money in reading a self-help book. So what it does, it creates a sense of accomplishment also once we finish reading a book like that. But the point is that the self-help books must be viewed only as valuable tools and resources for personal development, but not as a final solution or a panacea to our problem. So in conclusion, what I would really want to bring to the table is, while self-help books can undoubtedly provide valuable insights and guidance to the readers, the wisdom always lies in moderation and utilizing the content as a supplement to one's personal growth. And not just that, there are various genres available to be tried, like that of fiction, philosophy, religion, etc. Because diversifying one's reading habits can broaden perspectives and introduce different schools of thought. And this will undoubtedly lead to not just one's personal development, but also intellectual and emotional growth. For example, my debut book with White Falcon was that of a genre which is romance, and that also has its set of learnings that could be as good as a self-help book. So what I would like to finally summarize saying that, so try looking at other genres too besides self-help, and not just rely on them that this is the ultimate panacea to all our problems. So before I conclude, I would like to wholeheartedly congratulate the White Falcon team for the wonderful, job and the wonderful things that they are doing in the world of publishing. And I'm really happy to publish my first book with them. And thank you so much, Nancy and team, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here today. And my best wishes to all my co-authors and the upcoming authors. Thank you so much. Over to you, Nancy.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your views with us. I would like to invite Mr. Arvind Seshadri again to speak on the topic impact of AI on writing, a tool or a threat.
Thank you, Nancy. Good evening again. It's been wonderful listening to the various authors and different perspectives that they've been sharing. I come from the IT world, so I would give some perspective on AI, and AI is inevitable. We saw the conversational AI through Alexa. Every child will go and talk to Alexa and see if it actually understands its favorite color, favorite animal, favorite cartoon. So from conversational AI, we have come into generative AI. And that's the reality of life. Technology will pervade. 20 years back, making a phone call was as expensive that only very, very few people could afford it. Today, everybody has a phone. Whether he uses a phone for calling, he definitely looks at the internet and looks at how many likes he has on Facebook or how many reels he has uploaded, whether it's a guy on the farm or somebody sitting in 20th floor on a high-rise building. I think what is important for all of us to understand that in technology world, newer things will keep coming in. Andy Grove in his book, who's the founder of Intel, wrote Only the Paranoid Survive. Well, Intel is still surviving and growing, but the book actually said only the paranoid survive. The inflection points will happen. Now, we all know about Nokia. We all know about Kodak. Kodak was the company which founded the color film. Kodak doesn't exist as a company today because every phone has become a camera. And the moment you have digitalization, you don't need film reels anymore. That was the end of Kodak. And in industry, we call it the Kodak moment. Nokia was a very big brand on the phones, but they didn't see the change coming in. The moment Android came in, open source came in, everybody could make a phone. You and I can start making a phone today. Xiaomi, for example, does not even have a single manufacturing plant. They actually start making it after the things are sold. It's that easy to do things today. Coming back to the AI perspective, right? AI comes in the same genre of what I'm talking about. It's an inflection point for us. It is reality. One of the things that we all know of is NASPA, for example, right? The first time when music became online, everybody thought the music industry would die. There were cases that would go in. Today also, we see the same thing that's happening in the AI world. We have the Authors Guild, people like John Grisham, and people who've written the Game of Thrones have sued AI or ChatGPT. New York Times has actually sued the AI world as well. There will be issues of copyrights. There will be talks of infringement, stealing of ideas. It's not new. Everybody steals ideas and we keep going about it. But AI will penetrate. I think we have to look at it in two ways, right? A knife is a fantastic tool. It's a very simple tool. My mother uses it very differently. A child will use it very differently. A chef will use it very differently. And a thief uses it very differently. AI is a tool that is enabling and it is also disruptive. That is the nature of technology, the way it is. I think when we write books, for example, when I wrote my second book, Peter Meets Pandavas, it was an experience that I wanted to share. I come from an MBA background. I've read Peter Drucker's theories, and I worked in the IT industry for 25 years. But I wanted to also tell the people that management is not a Western concept. And if Mahabharata can teach us way of life, it can teach us way of management as well. I brought in the examples from Mahabharata to explain Peter Drucker's concept. Now, I couldn't just simply go and pick whatever I wanted. I had to do some research to figure out what would fit where. While I would have it in my thoughts, I also needed validation. I think when we write a lot of things, and we heard many people talk about self-help books, right? And then they talk about mechanics, they talk about diagrams, they talk about structure, processes that enable that. You've got to have referential material. And that reference is where ChatGPT can help. It's how you utilize it, right? It is a double-edged sword. There's no two ways about it. At the end of the day, you can't do away with AI because whether we like it or not, it's already pervading into your life. You're going to get smart fridges, smart TVs, smart watches. Everywhere AI is going to pervade, whether we like it or not. But it is about how we utilize it. And I was talking to one of my friends in the industry, right? He runs a company called BioClick, which helps identify kidney problems at a much early stage using AI. AI has positive aspects to it as well. From a writer's perspective, I think it can enable the writers to get content which can augment their perspective. Like, for example, we've had Kubi Madam talk about the vastness of literature, the emotional ethos that it brings in, the perspective of tomorrow, and creation of characters. That cannot be recreated by AI. AI can aggregate, assimilate, correlate things, but it can't create a Shakuntala. It can't create something which is unique. It can't create a Ramayana. You can't create a characterization of Karna or what Shakespeare does. You mentioned about Othello, whether it's Macbeth, Othello, or anything that we see today, or Laila Majnu, that can never be recreated by AI. That will come through the emotional ethos and connect and culture that we have. AI can never replicate that. Yes, there will be plagiarization that will happen. A John Grisham's book can be copied completely with a turn here and there and say, okay, this is the new version of that book. That is inevitable. And I think the laws of the land needs to bring in. And one of the things that the government of India is doing, Suprabhaji mentioned about Modi, right? Today we have the initiative of the government to bring in Bharat GPT. The whole idea of control of what AI can do and cannot do, just like we've seen with cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is inevitable. It will happen. Governments across the world are today looking at legislation, structured processes, controls to ensure that it is used in the right manner. For me, the way I see it is, if I can use AI and stop the guy going down the gutter and cleaning it for me to live a safe and healthy life, then AI has reached its success. Now, as an author, accidental author, I would call myself, I think AI can be very, very supportive of the ideas, translating thoughts into action. Some of the people, for example, some people are very good at talking. Some people are very good thinkers. Some people are very good listeners. Not everybody can be a very good writer. Now, if I can use AI, translate my thoughts, what we also heard about, how do we combine literature? How do we combine different linguistic perspectives? Every literature, I'm a Tamilian by birth living in Bangalore, but there is hordes of literature that's there across the world, right? One of the things that I do now that I'm out of corporate life, I run a YouTube channel. Tirukural is a great scripture written in the 3rd century AD by Tiruvalluvar. I take that, contextualize what value and virtues it brings into current environment, and I translate that in 4 languages: English, Hindi, Tamil, and Kannada. Like somebody said, if one person gets transformed and become a person, that is the success that I have. I'm not going to monetize anything out of the YouTube. And I think AI will help in that. If I can translate varied thoughts, right? Somebody was talking about breaking the glass ceiling, right? Where women are coming out and talking about themselves, their body, their problems, and others. I think it will give voice to the people who cannot be heard or who don't want to be heard. AI can be used in a way that could be pseudo writers actually bringing forth societal problems for others to be able to see and find solutions to it. In a conclusion, I'd like to say this. AI is inevitable. AI will happen. It won't be surprised for me in 10, 20, 30 years' time if I have AI as a prime minister of this country, right? I mean, that's the way technology is overpowering us today. But AI has its positive values and its negative values. From a writer's perspective, again, if the infringement laws, the copyright laws mature a bit more, where AI does not infringe on somebody else's thoughts or ideas or vision, and is able to enable people to translate their thoughts in a much better way, then AI would have achieved what it is meant to be. The intent of AI, as ChatGPT has also been talking about, is to make lives better. And I think the focus is to go there. In technology world, we have what's called as a Gartner hype cycle. You have what's called as a technology trigger. Then you have what you call as, higher expectation, right? More than expected expectations. Then you have what is called as the trough of disillusionment. Then you have a level of stability where it goes there, and then it becomes productive over a period of time. AI, I think, is in a sense from a very high expectation into the trough of disillusionment. Today people think that, oh, I enable AI, I can become an author, I clear exams, I do everything. But that fad will go down over a period of time when they realize that ChatGPT or Bharat GPT can only do so much. And I think once that happens, the stabilization will happen and AI will be used in a much mature way than what it is being today. Thank you so much for White Falcon for giving this opportunity. Back to you, Nancy.
Very enlightening words, sir. I'm sure our audience feels the same. So, well, this was an amazing session. We got insights into such varied aspects and viewpoints. We come to our next segment, Best Selling Book Awards for December month, which goes to Bipin Kumar for his book, Cosmic Science. Bipin Kumar is an inspiring physicist currently pursuing a master's degree in physics at prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. We would request you to say a few words about your book, sir.
So, hello everyone. As Nancy ma'am introduced me, that I am a final year physics major at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. So, I've written a book titled Cosmic Science that is all about space science and astronomy. From my childhood, I was very fascinated to know about the universe. I used to go on my terrace and observe stars and wonder many questions like where did they come from and what was the origin of our universe. I tried to find these kind of the answer to these questions from several books, but I had a different taste of asking questions and about the answers also. So I read several books, but I could not find most of my answers combined in one book or even few books. So I read several books and I thought, why not to compile all the questions which I asked into a book and answer all those questions in a single book. So my book is all about space science and astronomy. So actually, the book is divided in two parts. One is about the astronomy. So astronomy deals with the studies where we, being on Earth, study about the whole universe, and other is space science, where people they leave Earth and go out in space. Like many people are still in International Space Station observing universe and doing studies. So there are two aspects. So I've covered both the aspects here. I have covered many topics in this book, like from where did this universe come into the picture. Like there are two theories. One is Big Bang theory, and other comes from string theory. I have covered several topics, like what is this universe composed of. So whatever we see around, like the sun, star, even the doors, even the table or the laptop, whatever we are using right now, all these are made up of ordinary matter, which constitute of just 5% of the whole universe. Most of the things are like dark matter and dark energy, which we can't observe. So if we can't observe, how do we detect them? How do we know that they are present? So there are many evidences in our universe. So there are these interesting questions. So when we ask one question, it lead to again many questions. And when we try to answer those many questions, we again lead to again a branch of questions. So when I tried to ask these questions on my own and try to figure out the answers of all these questions, I was very fascinated to know about these things. So there are many interesting things in our universe, like the black hole, time travel. These are the concepts which like these are the hot topics, especially among the space enthusiasts. I'm also one among them. So I thought, why not to compile all those things in a book. So I've also covered the topics of like Mars colonization. We know that even SpaceX is very much putting its effort to land person on Mars and all. So what will be the challenges? How we are going to do all those things? Yeah, so my book is all about these things. It covers most of the questions and answers which an ordinary people as well as a space enthusiast and a physicist may ask. So yeah, this is all about my book. Thank you.
Thank you, Bipin. We wish your book lots of success.
Thank you, ma'am.
So authors spend many months and years writing their books. After fulfilling the aim of publishing their book, an author dreams comes to fruition when their book starts selling consistently. So let us hear straight from a few of our authors who have realized this realized this dream. We would hear what strategies they adopt that helps them sell their book well. First, I would like to invite Dr. Nupur Shah, MBBS MS, gold medalist, consultant fetal medicine and genetics at Baroda Imaging Center, Baroda. She is the author of the book Fetal Echocardiography Simplified. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, WFP and the whole team. It's really a great opportunity to be with you all in this virtual meet. As Nancy has introduced me already, so my book belongs to medical genre. And for all the books, of course, it is very important that while we are writing the book, we make a strategy how it is going to be sold. So in my case, as it belonged to the medical genre and it was a very complex topic, fetal echocardiography, which means how to look at baby's heart inside the womb to diagnose whether it's normal, to diagnose if it is abnormal and what abnormalities and how to reach to a diagnosis. So basically what I wanted to do, my motive in writing this book was to simplify this topic. And by simplification, I meant it for the practitioners who are already practicing the subspecialty as well as for the new trainees. So what I've done is to this very complex topic, I have simplified by the help of line diagrams and by inserting pointers and tables so that it is a quick reference guide for the practitioners as well as for the trainees. And so this was actually my strategy, which helped me in selling and getting through, because I think once you are there, your USP is out, which is simplification in my case, because you have varied medical textbooks available, but all of them are so complex, so huge, so tedious that actually practicing consultants don't want to refer to them every now and then. And the trainees are anyways exhausted doing the residencies and the training works. So my point in bringing out this book is to simplify this complex topic, and that USP was out. And once it was out, it went from reader to reader through all my academic followers, may it be virtual, may it be in my course sessions or in the conferences, and also through the good feedbacks and the reviews they posted on various platforms and sites. So I think that USP or that strategy has to be kept in mind when we are writing the book. Focus audience, one, which is true for all the genres. Second, how will you create a buzz within that audience and how to maintain this buzz throughout. So I think once you have created that buzz, that integrating feeling has to be within the other readers so that they also want to know, okay, how this book simplifies this complex topic. Okay, so let me also buy and read. Okay, then it goes to the third one, let me also buy and read. And so that continues, so on. So I think that is what I had in my mind, and that this is the first book in the simplified series, of course, with the White Falcon. And I thank the whole team of White Falcon for this wonderful project. And of course, the next project is also with White Falcon. So I hope this journey continues for the simplification of this complex medical subspecialty topic, fetal echocardiography and fetal medicine. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with our audience.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Sudipta Mukherjee, co-editor of the book, A Complete Guide to Onco-Anesthesia, Critical Care and Cancer Pain. He is presently working as consultant and head of Department of Critical Care Medicine, Tata Medical Center, Kolkata, India, to share his views on the strategy to adopt to make a book sell well.
Thank you, Nancy, for a nice introduction, and thank you the other authors who are present in this meet. So it is a very interesting experience for me to be in the same panel with authors from different specialty. So as we mentioned, probably our last speaker was from medical specialty, but most of the books are from other specialty, and it is great to hear their perspective, how they think when they have written those books, and how they approach the audience, also their emotions put them on the same page. Now, as I mentioned, Nancy mentioned, I'm a co-editor of this book. So rather than writing the whole book, I am just a writer of one chapter. But we had put a lot of hard work to put all the information that is available regarding this topic in the same book. So honestly speaking, whenever we started or planned this book with my other co-authors like Dr. Josna Goswami, Dr. Rudranil Nandia, Dr. Neha Desai, we never thought of the perspective of selling or the commercial success of this book. Our main agenda was to focus on the process because we are developing a new specialty, which is the perioperative medicine, specifically in the background of oncology. If you go back 8 to 10 years, people who have cancers usually assume to have a maybe a death in the next few years and without any good clinical outcome or quality of life. That perspective has changed significantly over the last few years. There are a lot of good treatment, extensive surgeries where the cancer even can be cured with the intervention. And because of that, there is an equal demand or equal need to address the perioperative medical management, which supports the surgery and at the same time, which can give a patient a reasonable or quick recovery from these difficult situations. A lot of cancer surgeries are very extensive, so we need a very dedicated or specific intervention in the perioperative period during the surgery to have a better outcome. So our main focus was on the process, and we strongly believe that we can improve the process, the eventual outcome, that is the selling of the book or appreciation from all other esteemed people will be there. But again, if we go to that process, so we address this in under certain headings. Like first we look at the demand. As I mentioned, the cancer has increased significantly and so also its treatment. In presently, because of improvement in anesthesia and perioperative management, surgeons are able to do a lot of extensive surgeries for cancer patients. So there is a significant need of demand in terms of the knowledge. People are interested to explore this field, interested to know more definitive informations about how to manage these cancer patients in the perioperative scenario. But on the other hand, there is a significant knowledge gap. Why? Because there are scattered informations. Some publications, some may be part of the general anesthesia, some informations are part of the oncology, but those are some informations are part of the pain management and critical care, but these are not structured and not at the same place. So it's very difficult for the trainees or the practicing oncoanesthesiologists or perioperative physicians to collect them and to go through them in a certain format. And because there is a significant increase in the requirement, there are a lot of trainees are coming in the onco-anesthesia. There are super specialty qualifications are going on in the institutes like AIIMS Delhi and TMH Mumbai, and also in Tata Medical Center Calcutta at this moment. As a result, there is an increasing demand. So what we do, we look at this and we decide that we conglomerate all the information that is available in the market in the international level under the same group, that is a practicing guide to oncoanesthesia, cancer pain, and perioperative critical care. And after that, what we do, we focus on the quality. We address all the people, we approach all the doctors, senior doctors who are practicing oncocritical care and oncoanesthesia. We discuss with them, give them the topic that which more comfortable and they are working intensely in that area, and eventually they share those write-ups with us. It was a very painstaking journey for us to go through all the literatures. All 4 editors have gone through all the write-ups, get back with them, discuss, and try to optimize it according to the need of the people. So this is on the process of improving the quality. And then the last part, which is also equally important, is the promotion. You can create a good product, but it doesn't reach up to the customer, it is not going to be helpful. So we identify all the esteemed hospitals in the country. We discuss with their HODs and share our books with them, share the perspective with which we have prepared this, and eventually, with God's grace, and we get very good feedback with them. And eventually, with time, lot of juniors, lot of students are appreciating our books and procuring it. So I personally feel that rather than thinking about the selling of the book, as we have focused on the process, eventually we are able to produce a good product and which gives us or helps the students and the medical fraternity in coming days. And nevertheless, I would like to thank White Falcon for all the support they have done during our journey. It was a long journey, and we'll be very happy to be associated with them in coming days. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee, for sharing your valuable insights, sir. A book is considered successful when readers appreciate the writing. We have with us today established book reviewers who, apart from their professional careers, pursue reading as their passion. Let us hear from them what they consider a wonderful read in fiction and non-fiction. I would like to invite Tanvi Agarwal. She is a product engineer by profession and writer by passion. She has published 3 books and reviewed more than 100 books. She enjoys writing prompt poetry, blogs, short stories. Over to you.
Hello, everyone. Before going ahead, I would like to thank Nancy and White Falcon team for giving me this opportunity to present my views on reading and books about with the authors itself. Like being an author, I understand how it feels to know from the readers. So today I'll be sharing my views as a reader to all the authors present in this meet. The best thing is what I liked about this meet is the wisdom that every person is carrying with themselves. So books have always interested me because of the journeys they hold and the knowledge they offer. As an avid reader, I have noticed that fiction book. Why the readers like fiction book? The reason behind the liking towards a fiction book is the connectedness and with the characters and the story. Whenever I'm reading a fictional book, so what I seek in that is the story. If I find myself connected to that story, that will resonate with me, or maybe that shows what is real life. So that story lasts for a longer time than any other story. Now, moving on, if I talk about non-fiction has been my favorite genre since long. But recently, when I read one of the book in non-fiction, that was self-help book. Considering the views of Pooja ma'am, Suprabha ma'am, and Jashjot ma'am, I just can connect with their views like in mixed circumstances. What I see is as a self-help book, I notice we reader need to bring more books that align with the present scenario rather than the ancient times or maybe the ideal times. With the change in environment and living standards, many things mentioned in old books like sticking to a standard schedule for a longer time. It may be possible for someone who has already achieved a lot and has a huge staff to take care of their course while they are following their schedules. But what I believe as a reader, self-help book are are for everyone, not for a particular percentage of a people. Because as the other people in this meet mentioned, self-help book act as a guide to become better in our lives. So what does it matter when the people who are thriving to become better, they are not getting anything from those self-help book? So even I have read self-help books from renowned author and the new budding authors. What I found, there was a difference in their writing. One, in the renowned author's writing, there was something that I personally, what I am following already, I find it difficult to keep it constant for a longer time due to the circumstances and the situation we are in. As Pooja ma'am mentioned, like there are different phases we undergo. So based on that, it is not possible to create those idealistic situations. So we need something that can align with the present scenario as a non-fiction self-help book for the readers to take the full benefit from it. After this, I would like to proceed with the review of one of the self-help book that I have read, and it is again from a new budding author. So the title of the book is Leading from Within. Leading from Within, Wisdom and Practices for Leading with Purpose is a book by Shalini Haridas. The book brings in the leadership principles guiding through the Bhagavad Gita. So here is my review for this book. Since I mentioned it is about the leadership principles. So basically it is guiding us towards becoming a better leader. Be we are a leader or we are aspiring to become a leader. So when I read this book, so I was very much resonating it with the Bhagavad Gita as it specifically comes with the leadership principles of the Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita is compilation of all the principles that we humans have to follow in life. It can guide us towards leadership, arrogance control, financial benefit, as we can say, like how you would be wondering how financial benefit. So in that, the story, basically the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata was beside for, they were fighting for the throne. So basically that was financial stability for which they were fighting. So in that scenario, I can say that Bhagavad Gita in itself is the compilation of all the principles that principles and ethics that humans need to follow to live a good life. So, in this book, the author emphasizes that when leaders lead from within, they are more effective and impactful in the personal and professional lives. The author crafted 15 chapters taking insights from the Bhagavad Gita to cast leadership, its importance, challenges in leadership, and how leaders should look within to find the solution and become a better version of themselves. The best part about the book is the notes section. After every chapter, the author provided a note section where you can put down your key takeaways, what you learned from that particular chapter or that leadership principle that the author depicted in particular chapter. The book is a compilation of short chapters but impactful content. Initially, the readers may feel that the book is a short and quick read, but no, it was.
And we have to, as we are time bound, so I would request you to wrap it up in another minute, please.
Just one,
Yeah.
like 30 second more. So the author focuses on different aspects of leadership that people generally miss. So basically, I would wrap it up so that the time constraint is not disturbed. That was all about this book. So basically, my concern is the readers connect with the books that resonate with them and the self-help book that can help them guide according to the present scenario. So that was my takeaway as a reader for the books that I have been reading since long. Thank you for this opportunity.
So thank you, Tanvi, for sharing your views, and these would be very helpful. And now we have Meghna Roy, who is working individual with MBA being her highest qualification. She has been reviewing books since 2017.
Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, Meghna.
Hi, my name is Meghna. As Nancy ma'am has already introduced me, today I would be sharing my thoughts and insight as a reader about the book which I have recently reviewed, which is Verity by author Colleen Hoover. And it is a literary work that has been thrilled and challenged reader across the globe. So Verity is, you can say, it's a psychological thriller, but you won't be getting to know who the actual villain is in this story. The whole journey through every human emotions and the character's development is unique. The author did the best work of making us hate the character in the first half and making us believe in the end that in reality, they were never the villain of the whole story. Great storytelling skills to let you finish the book in one sitting. However,
Meghna, can you please share your views? What makes you feel a good book in fiction? Not for any particular book, but generic.
Okay, so as a reader, you want to know my expectations from a book, right? My expectation from a book is gonna be like plot and storylines. Like it should be compelling, well-developed plots that keeps us engaged and eager to turn the pages. We appreciate twists, surprises, and everything. Like we also should get motivated if it's a self-help book or any non-fiction book, and we should get to be get surprised from the fiction books, whatever we read. Then comes character development, like whatever characters are in that story, they should have a very good development in them. Then the writing style, a clear, descriptive and simple writing style is totally appreciated by all the readers. It's because they enjoy vivid imaginary and suggestive languages, so they can definitely be transported to another world and to the story which they are reading. Then themes and messages should be totally clear, like what the author wants to show the world, like what they want to convey through that book, the messages which they want to convey. And originality and creativity is the must in it, like original ideas and unique approaches to storytelling. It always captivates the readers. Yeah, so that's my view from a book, actually.
So thank you, Meghna. Thank you for sharing your views. I'm sure these insights would have given our authors a lot of food for thought. Today's session was both enthralling and encouraging. Please share your valuable suggestions feedback. This will help us to align our ideas well in next meet. I would also like to mention that here that the result of December writing contest shall be officially announced on 10th of January. We are eager to reveal the talented writers and their captivating stories. So thank you everyone for giving your time and joining us today. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
everyone
Team
for
White
your
Falcon.
views. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
White
White
Falcon.
Falcon.
Meeting so many
Thank you,
authors,
Nancy and Navsangeet.
May Allah bless
reviewers
everybody.
Thank you, Navsangeet.
on the virtual
Thank you,
platform.
Nancy and Debandra.
Thank you
and
so
all.
much. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nancy.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.